Sharon Reynolds here with SBL, and today I'm going to go over what, in my humble opinion, are 10 of the greatest System of a Down songs and bass lines. Obviously, Shavo Odadjian on bass. Unlike Shavo, I do not have a fancy Gibson Thunderbird or a goatee.
Such a lonely day.
So I'll just be sticking with my lovely 1993 Fender Jazz Plus, but we will be tuning this baby down. Let's get into it. That was Sugar off of their self-titled album System of a Down, released in 1998. And this bassline is the clear result of alternative rock and walking basslines having a baby. I know I'm using a 5-string, but I'm actually only using 4 of the strings, and my tuning on this is low C, G, back to C, up to F. And I'm pretty sure 99% of what Shavo plays with System of a Down is with a pick, so we shall be doing the same. Now, the coolest thing about this bass line is obviously the massive switch in feels, but is it really switching? I don't think so. John is over there on the drums, obviously doing a massive 360, but Shavo is holding it down. Starting with a really cool rundown from the 12th fret on our lowest string, our C, and then this bass line, which is essentially 80% of the song. Low open E string, or in our case C string, to the 7th fret, 6th fret, 5th fret, and just repeat. Obviously there is one exception when he does this little skip right here, which is really cool and really satisfying, and it really drives that weird shuffly swing business home. Guess who made sure you'd be able to learn these bass lines at home? Us. We did. Of course we did. Go grab that PDF with all the tab annotation down below in the description. Alright, next up, Hypnotize off of their second release in 2005. Hypnotize. I mean, who makes 2 albums in 1 year? Not the point. This is one of my favorite System of a Down songs, despite the bass not actually having a huge role to play. That being said, the bass does enter on a beautiful high note pedal, slowly making its way down the fretboard into that heavy verse riff. Let's have a listen. I know I literally just said that Shavo plays most of what he does with System of a Down with a pick, and yet here we are playing with our fingers. There's always an exception to the rule. And also I tuned my bass half a step up for this track, so D flat, A flat, D flat, and G flat. Okay, this beautiful pedal starts up here on our 12th fret, and we're gonna go down an octave after a couple of cycles, and then down into the riff. And he really smacks that string. And that's not even the most compelling thing about this song. System of a Down is obviously rooted mostly in alternative rock music, but across all of the albums we can clearly hear the influence of their collective Armenian heritage, and this song highlights that beautifully by hinting at it with percussion during those little interludes, but then eventually pivots entirely into this eastern side of things during this incredible guitar solo. Super simple bass line, and it's one that's found across many a folky and dancier styles across the world, especially the further east you go. We're moving on to Prison Song, one of many incredible tracks off of their 2001 album, Toxicity. Following the right moment to climb down with your right. The tuning doesn't stop, we're tuning back down to C, G, C, F. On paper, Shavo's bass lines may not always look hard, and that would hold true if they exclusively wrote ballads. And while they do have some iconic ballads, this ain't one of them. One of the themes throughout this video will be speed, and how some of these bass lines will challenge said skill and your right arm's willingness to live. But fear not, this song eases us into the speed challenge that is System of a Down bass lines. And once again, the notes are quite simple. The first heavy riff is really just low open C string, 1st fret and 3rd fret, ending on the 1st fret on our G string, and our second riff. So as you see, not too many notes, and they're not hard. The tricky part comes when you need to coordinate your right hand attacks with your left hand actually pressing down the note at the right time. And you don't want it to sound like this. So to avoid this, always start slow. Figure out what the tempo is that you can play it at cleanly and without straining either hand too much. If you can hold this tempo, slowly keep raising it until you reach your target speed. And the final riff, combining all of that, is our 5th fret on our 2nd string, 6th fret 2nd string, and 8th fret 2nd string. And remember, if this is going too fast for you and those tabs are just zipping right on by you, we've got that snazzy PDF with the tab annotation for you down in the description, just waiting for you to click on it. Next, you know if a song starts with a low, fat, open C string, it's gonna be good. Ladies and gentlemen, Mind, also off of their 1998 release, System of a Down. Alright, there's a couple of ways for you to play this. I think this is how Shavo plays it. I might be wrong. If you know, let me know in the comments. This is definitely my preferred way of playing it, so if you're like me and you like doing as little as possible, you can go the hammer-on route. Open low C, and then the 5th, 4th, and 6th fret on our 2nd string. I'll take it slowly and watch when I get to the 6th fret how I'm using a hammer-on instead of plucking it. Hammer-on instead of plucking it. And to get that tone, I'm just palm muting a little bit to get a shorter and more chuggier tone. And obviously, if you prefer to pick everything, you can do this. A bass line so good it was used twice. Just kidding. Although, you have to admit, there might be a couple of similarities. I'm not going to be breaking down spiders in this episode because I've already covered it in a different video. So if you want to see me break it down, go click on the link in the description and that'll lead you right to it. Today, however, we will be focusing on its cousin bassline, Mr. Jack, off of the dreadfully underrated record, Steal This Album, released in 2002. It's so beautiful. Tricky bass line because of that low C that he lets ring at the start of every phrase. To simplify, you could just cut that low C and stick to playing the open C on what is usually our D string. But the truly tricky part is nailing the rhythmic placement of these 3 notes. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 and. And here's the full thing at speed. Moving on to probably one of their biggest hits, you know it, you love it, Toxicity. Well, you know, you don't love Toxicity, just roll the track. got some classic Shavo chugging going on here at the top. Remember our speed exercise? It's gonna come in handy here. Followed by this last classic, yet still gorgeous and simple top note situation. Hey, I'm having a blast and I hope you're having a blast too. So if you want to see more videos like this, press that like and subscribe button. It'll help us bring more bass straight to your screen. Words cannot explain how excited I was the first time I heard this track. Question off of their first 2005 release, Mesmerize. This might be their proggiest bass line yet, and I am here for it. If you know me, you know I like a good mix of odd time signatures, and there's nothing that hits quite like a 9. So let's do this.
Sweet berries ready for two ghosts are no different than you. Ghosts are now waiting for you, are you? Sweet berries ready for two ghosts are no different than you. Ghosts are now waiting for you, are you? Dreaming, dream.
Exquisite. Now, as some of you might know, I am most comfortable playing with my fingers as opposed to a pick. I see the value of the pick, but for this song, I'm going hands just because it feels so much better to play for me personally. Obviously, if you prefer the pick, I say go ham. For tuning, I'm actually not quite sure what he's on. I've gone with a D flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, since a lot of this album is tuned like that. Maybe I might be wrong. Don't trust me. All right, let's learn the line. I mentioned 9 earlier, but this 9 is not as complicated as you might think. It's just these 9 notes played in succession. To me, this bass line sounds a little bit muted, so I'm actually laying my palm slightly onto the strings to mute, and I'm using my thumb, my index finger, and my middle finger to pluck this line. If you're attempting to play this with fingers too, feel free to use a combination of fingers that work for you, and if you want to simplify it, you can start off by not muting the line at all. And then finally, we've got this killer repeated slide that is just so dang tasteful. And I'm actually re-attacking it at the top to give it a little bit more oomph. Next up, violin
Pumba, not in front of the kids.
Oh, sorry.
Damn, I guess I can't do that song. All right, let's try another one. Also off of 2001's Toxicity, yet another masterpiece, Aerials. And before we start, I have a little bit of beef here. Every time the song comes on, it breaks my heart a little bit more because this intro is not played on a bass, and that is a hate crime against bassists. Hit it.
'Cause we are the ones that wanna play. Always wanna go, but you never wanna stay. We are the ones that wanna choose. Always wanna play, but you never wanna lose.
So yes, the good news is we do eventually get to play the riff, and we get to play it down low, which I suppose is a little bit of compensation. But before that, there's some really cool accompanying happen. Check it out. And epic. It is so beautiful how he chooses to double the voice and the guitar in that section, but down low. Just adds a whole new level of body to the tune. Oh boy, I've been dreading this moment in the video. This track has been kicking my butt. It is hella fast, and some might say, too fast. Regardless, here I am embarrassing myself in front of thousands of people who love this song. I am sorry. B.Y.O.B.
Victorious, victorious Neil. And you spanking Neil. Marching forward, hypocritic, and hypnotic computers. You depend on our protection, yet you feed us lies from the people thought.
We made it through. Let's just never listen to that in isolation. Just like a lot of the other tracks on this album, speed is king. And building up to that speed is king-er. To make matters worse, we're going back and forth between triplets and not triplets, and really the whole thing is just designed to make you cry. Both tears of joy and tears of pain. Let's take it slow, so that I may succeed, and you may have a chance at actually hearing what is happening. This is the triplet section, like 5 million times slower. It just keeps going, and then at some point it goes, and then again, a bunch more, and then it goes really melodically, actually. Back down, and then this is my favorite part. And hey, if you want to suffer as I did, make sure you grab that PDF download with the tab and notation.
Wake up! Wake up! Run, rush, and put a little makeup! Makeup! I just have to fade away the shake up! Why'd you leave the keys up on the table?
The table! You didn't seriously think I was gonna do a System of a Down video and not play Chop Suey, right? So a good amount of people on the internet seem to think that this bass line is pretty simple. A single note, 16th note situation, but is it? I don't think so. It's not quite a single note, 16th note pattern. We're actually going with a 16th note wiggle pattern. This is now an officially recognized educational term on the bass, by the way. I present the wiggle pattern. And then he actually does go to a single note 16th note pattern when he takes it up an octave. And then finally we go back to the wiggle for this cool riff. Did I nail the song choice? What other songs were you expecting to see? And more importantly, what other bands do you want us to cover on the channel? Let us know down in the comment section below. It was a pleasure being your host today, and I shall play myself out now.
Everybody living now. Everybody living now. Everybody living now. Everybody living now. Everybody living now. Everybody